So this is Snorkeling for Maui in Maui, and ready or not, my next speaker is here. I'm going to bring you on stream. There we go, Luis. How are you? You are on mute, my friend. Can we hear you? Can you hear your beautiful voice?
Oh, I
Now
was
you're on.
talking. I was
uh,
muted.
how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I was asking about the people that are with us today. What are they?
Yeah.
What they say?
All right. Well, sorry to be running just a little late because like we have good stuff. Like I feel so bad with each speaker because you have so much to share. But without further ado, I'm going to give you the floor here, Louis. I see your desktop. So you want to talk about moving things forward to .NET MAUI, right? So
Yes.
the floor is yours.
Okay. Nice. Let me see. Okay. For those people that doesn't know me, my name is Luis Matos. Um, I'm a developer in .NET ecosystem. Most people know me because all the things that I do with Xamarin and now with .NET MAUI. Um, Normally, what I do, a lot of things, believe me. But my focus is on users. I try to make things better for all the user and client that we have. So the topic that we have today is porting Xamarin.Forms Library to .NET MAUI. What we are talking about, if you have a library or maybe you have a project that you want to port to .NET MAUI, you will have some tips that maybe can help you in that transition. Also, for those people that are, helping the community with all the library and all of those things, here we have some tips that I think that you are going to is going to save your life because I spent a lot of time in one of them that I'm going to show you later. Okay, the first thing that we need to talk about is about your code base. If you have a Xamarin Form app or a Xamarin Form library, you have your .NET Standard library, and if you are using all Xamarin Form stuff, maybe you have your .NET Framework library. The thing is that with your Xamarin app, you are sharing code, and maybe you are sharing code with native platform. So maybe your code is ready to use it in .NET MAUI because a lot of things doesn't change too much. But in some cases, in some scenarios, you need to update something. So what we are talking about here is determining what you need to grade, what you need to abandon, and what you need to rewrite. First, let's talk about your code. Decide what to do with your code. First, we need to look if we are having, some dependency on project. If we have some project, we need to see all of those projects that we have, and then see if we can find, if you can delete it, it's better. And in .NET MAUI, you have some dependencies. You don't have the same dependency and the same structure that you have with Xamarin Forms, and that help a lot. If you don't have those dependencies, it's good for you because in your cases, maybe the first thing that you can do is refactoring. When we talk about refactoring, is upgrading the existing code that you have to work in the new environment under .NET 6. When I talk about refactoring, I'm not talking about complex stuff. I'm talking about, for example, here we have is not null. For example, message is not null. You can use this one um, with .NET with C# 8. For example, if you are using .NET Standard, you have support for C# 7, for example. With .NET 6, you have support for C# 9, and you have all of this great stuff. And maybe some kind of refactoring sometimes can be easy, sometimes is a little complicated. But depending on the situation that you have, you can, see what you can do and what you can't. The other option that you have is rewriting. And when we talk about rewriting, we talk about rewriting. That's it. You need to rewrite the code that you have from the scratch. I don't recommend that you do this because this involves most work. So the last option that you have in all the stuff that I'm going to share with you today is rewriting your code. If you have some legacy code, maybe some old legacy code, maybe your better option is rewrite the code that you have there, and that's it. But it doesn't matter, so you need to look for all of those things that you can see and maybe just update all the things that you have there. Maybe can be the best situation or the best option that you have. And the last part that we have is the bifurcation. When we talk about bifurcation, we're talking about that we take the old Xamarin code, we copy that code, and we paste that code in a new .NET 6 project. And with that, we just need to make sure that our project is running properly, and that's it. But maybe for you, it's better refactoring than bifurcation because with refactoring, you just need to break your code, your SDK, and all of those things, and just see what you need to change, and that's it. The better option here is refactoring. Later, then we have bifurcation, and the last option for you, if you want, you have the rewriting. This rewriting is for all legacy code, but
I feel
all,
there is like there needs to be one more option for folks like me, which is like throw away all your code. It's garbage. What we wrote like a few months back, it's like so bad, just throw it away. But you're exactly right. Like if you have to rewrite, that is expensive.
yeah, a
So
lot of
like
messes.
yeah. So when you say bifurcation, I like this option that you're calling it what it is because you are literally taking an existing project and you're starting a new .NET 6 or .NET MAUI project, you're copying and pasting over and seeing what breaks. It's a little bit trial and error, but maybe you can update some namespaces. Maybe you can change some things, and most of your XAML still works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So another thing that I want you to take into account is the roadmap. If you are going to upgrade all the code that you have and code across the .NET 6 when you finish the project, or can you upgrade each project in the legacy code base in a way that allows you to keep maintaining the legacy code that you have while also you are retargeting .NET 6? You have different options, but um, I want to talk about the risk that we have here. If you want to support the legacy code that you have, I mean, you want to support Xamarin.Forms and also you want to support .NET MAUI because with Xamarin.Forms you have 2 years of support, and with .NET MAUI, it's clear that we need to target .NET MAUI. Okay, you have this scenario. You have some risks because you need to think about the requirements, the issue that you have. So you are going to have your work is going to be double when we talk about the things that you need to do in the repo that you need to do, the things that you need to be aware in all the stuff that you are doing work in the environment that you select, in the target framework that you select. Any code that you need to rewrite involve that you need to maintain two set of code. I mean, the Xamarin Form and the .NET MAUI. Also, if you need to delete the code that you have, and for example, you have 2 years of support for Xamarin.Forms. Maybe in 2 years, 1 year, I don't know, you want to delete all of those code, you can do it because I'm going to share um, a tip later that how you can maybe try to work with this kind of pattern. But the thing here is that you need to think about all the roadmap that you need to take and all the things that are related that decision that you take before.
Yeah.
And for those, well, what is the best option? Depending on the project. If your project is targeting a native platform and maybe you don't have all the dependencies that you have, and maybe it's a kind of difficult, maybe yes, you need to target .NET MAUI and Xamarin Form. But if you don't have that complexity, maybe you just need to target .NET MAUI. In my case, I'm going to share with you an example. um, I am targeting .NET Standard for Xamarin Form stuff and .NET MAUI, .NET 6 for .NET MAUI. Why? Because my code it doesn't change. I change anything. The only thing that I did was changing the reference SDK and adding the .NET 6 target platform, and that's it. Let me show you these tips.
No, this is actually a good point you mentioned, like with Xamarin Prompts, and I think David Orpno and the team has been pretty clear on this. Like, so the last major Xamarin Forms release was November 2021. So
Mhm.
2 years, you do the math. 2023 November, you have Xamarin support, but I mean that should give us plenty of time. Particularly, like you're saying, like if you have code that is not so like tied to native stuff,
Mhm.
it's a matter of changing up a few namespaces. So hopefully that's enough time. But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here what I'm going to do is giving you some tips that you can use for porting your Xamarin.Forms library to .NET MAUI. Even though this is about Xamarin.Forms and .NET MAUI, you can use it in the .NET ecosystem itself. So the first things that you need to take into account is understand your dependencies. You need to know what are all of those packages, what are those dependencies that your project have. You need to take some time and examine them and see what you can migrate and what you cannot. If you are using external NuGet packages, or maybe you are using um, some linking reference with native libraries and all of those things, you need to take that into account. If, for example, you have a NuGet package like Carousel View that have, for example, dependency on Mono Android, UWP, Xamarin iOS, maybe you cannot migrate that until they migrate this solution to .NET 6. What happened here? If, for example, this repo of this plugin is not supported, but it's working properly, what you can do? You can use your library. We are considering that we are using in our library this carousel view dependency or this carousel view package. So what we can do, we can use, for example, .NET MAUI has support with for carousel view. We can use in .NET 6 their normal carousel view, and for Xamarin.Forms, if you are targeting both framework, you can use this plugin. For example, you can do that, and you have the flexibility to take the option that you need at the moment. The second tip is upgrade the Visual Studio Project SDK. Okay, with the SDK, you have a new format, and maybe it's required minimal explicit configuration and enable you to compile the code for .NET Framework, .NET Standard, and .NET 6. But we have an important tips. For example, I spend a lot of time with this. All libraries have the reference for the SDK ms build that SDK that extra. That's the reference that we have before the new stuff that we are having with .NET 6. What happened? If you use this reference, your project is not going to compile. Believe me, they have in the documentation. In my case, I like to read documentation, but they have a little small square that says, hey, you need to upgrade this reference. But if you are like me, that you read the documentation like you are not going to see that. I spend a lot of time with this, and the solution for this is use the Microsoft .NET SDK reference, and that's it. Your project is going to compile in the way that needs to be compiled.
I wanted to add, Louis, maybe and this is all great, but some of it can be automated because, like, no, Swiki from the team has been working on the .NET Upgrade Assistant from Xamarin.Forms to .NET MAUI, and while it's not like a silver bullet that's going to do everything, like little things like this, it can kind of get you going on a SDK style project and get your references and your templates and the namespaces right, hopefully a little bit.
Okay, the assistant that they have, I think that is for apps. In this case, this sample is for libraries.
Oh,
You
I
know,
see. I see. You're
yeah,
making the
it's
distinction. Okay, you're talking about library. Yes.
yeah. We have the SDK stuff that you can make the Nugget package and all of those stuff. Okay, that's a good question because if you kind of, you think that maybe this is your case, it's not. This is for the library. If you have a project that you are using like a library, like a SDK, maybe you need to update your reference. If you are working with a normal app, you can use the systems and you are not going to have this kind of problem. Okay, the third tips that I have is the multi-target on that net 6. Okay, the best recommendation that I can give you here is that you need to read the documentation from Microsoft. And that's it. This is what you need. But when your project is using the SDK style, in this case for library, and you want to compile with .NET 6, you want to target .NET 6, maybe .NET Standard 2, um, you need to see those what are those platforms that you need to migrate. Maybe the normal one are the Mono Android and also Xamarin iOS. But for those people that have packages that support different library, maybe you need to take into consideration that you have yeah, you don't have all of those SDKs separately. In this case, in our scenario, we have all of those stuff into the .NET product, .NET platform itself, but with it's like the same, but is how I can explain you. Um, mm, mm, at the end of the day, you have different SDK, but the new SDK with .NET 6 are integrated, all of them into the .NET ecosystem. Okay, I'm going to leave you this. Uh, I'm going to leave you this comparison to you, and let us know what you think about um, the library. Mm, the English is my second language, so it's kind of difficult.
No,
But
no worries at all.
yeah, yeah. In Twitter or in comments, let us know what you think about the new .NET 6 ecosystem with all those native library and the native library that we have before. The thing here is you need to think about all the target platform that you need to use and what you need to upgrade. And when you have those libraries or SDK or project that you want to target, what you need to do if you are targeting one platform, I'm talking about here with for libraries. If you are using or targeting one platform, you just need to use target framework without the S. But if you are using um, different, if you are targeting different platform, you need to use the tag target framework with the S. And the only thing that you need to do here is add all the target platform that you are going to use. In this case, we have .NET 6, .NET 6 for Android, and .NET 6 for iOS, and that's it.
Yeah, and this is a good point. For forever we've been saying, we are welcoming, especially with like Blazor and our good friend Ed Sherman is in the chat room. We
Mhm.
have been welcoming web developers into the native stack, and now we are sharing the pain. Like this is what native development means. You have to think about these platforms and the TFMs and know exactly where you're running and what. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
welcome to our pain.
Yeah, it's not pain, it's
Yeah, it's
kind
just
of
annoying. Yeah.
it's fun. Okay, tip number 4, we have to fix code issues. When you are targeting the new .NET 6 ecosystem, maybe you can, reuse the code that you have and all the things that you have there, and maybe you don't have issue. For example, in my case, with the code that I have in the library, that is called validation rules, I didn't need to update my code. All the thing that I do was changing the reference and add the new target platform, and that's it. But if you are using maybe some dependencies and some things that are now available in the .NET ecosystem, you need to look first a way to resolve that issue that you have. The first alternative um, that you can do is look or try to find something equal. For example, if you are using a library, you can try to find a similar library or something that is kind of equal, so that you at the end of the day you don't you know try to make things harder. And if you need to do something that it might require some hard work, you need to do it. That's it. Is no other way. First, try to look for libraries that can do the same stuff that you did before. Uh, Second thing is do it yourself, and that's it. It's not magic here, but for here we have this tip. What you can do if you want to support Xamarin.Forms and also .NET MAUI. Well, you can use the if statement that you can use for, if you are using .NET zip, do this. If are using something else, use this, and that's it. You can use this if statement just to maybe use the old reference that you have before, or maybe if you want to support at the beginning, you need to make your library to work. And maybe if you are using some dependencies that you can use in the .NET 6 ecosystem, what you can do, well, it's not supporting the .NET 6 until I do something in the future, for example. And with this, you can, for example, you can say, hey, if I'm using .NET Standard, for example, um, make this feature available. If I'm not using .NET Standard, is unavailable. And that's it. AI, you can make your teams working until you have the time or you have the solution for the thing that you are missing.
Yeah, and you distinctly have a different mindset, when you're talking about libraries as compared to apps, because like .NET MAUI developers we are mostly used to seeing like the if-else compiler checks. We will do if iOS, if Android, Windows, Tizen, you are using Net 6 because you're making a distinction between what is Net 6 compatible and what is not, like or .NET Standard.
Exactly.
Yeah. All
Uh,
right, and also, Luis, maybe we give you 2 more minutes. And we started like 3 minutes late, so uh,
okay, sure.
yeah.
Okay, tip number 5, don't repeat yourself. Look the way to avoid copying and pasting code. The only thing that you can do is trying to write your code and try to make all the things working. Also, try to make your file names with the same um, during the whole process. If you want to change something, this is not the right time to change those. Try to make your library working, and later then try to update or add the feature that you want to add. Tip number 5, testing. Mm, well, I know a lot of you doesn't do testing too much, but let's say that we do testing.
Well,
Hearing this,
our users will do our testing when we push to production.
the thing is that we need to be careful to trying to keep different platform working. Testing can be your best friend when something works and when something doesn't. And some extra tips. Um, you should do all the things that you are going to do in a separate branch. You are going to change a lot of things. You are going to change uh, the reference that you have for your project, and you need to be sure that all those stuff that you are doing work before you merge that branch with the main branch. So please try to use a separate branch. And another tips is when you are working with refactoring, a lot of people feel like they need to refactor things and they need to change stuff because they are like a hacker and those things. Don't make that at the beginning. Try to
Yeah.
do it, but when your library is working and you release the first package of your library. And this is all the tips that I have for you. If you have questions, this is the right time.
Yeah, and this is actually really good. Like the things that you summed up, like especially the things that you said at the end, like get it to work first.
Yeah.
Refactoring. We sometimes get into a mode of just like constantly refactoring and making our code better, which we always should do. But get it working first. Get it out there. And I'm a fan of something I was taught early on in my career. It's called like pain-driven development, which is
Mhm.
refactor things when they're causing you a little bit of pain, and then you can keep on that journey. But especially when you're moving from one big framework to another, get things to work first. So
Yeah, it's the best option, the best things.
yeah.
We are, like a fellow at the beginning. We want to, hey, I want to do stuff and all of those things, and later then it's not working.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Luis, we are big fans of all the content that you create. You are also a content machine, so thank you for all the articles and
Thank you
all the
so much.
videos and everything that you do. We love your enthusiasm and keeping us energized. So, and thank you for taking the time in your day to do this.
Thank you for having me.
All right. All right, Luis, we're going to let you go and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.